Hello, and thanks for stopping by. Any of you that's been following my channel or following Doug over at Mossack know that he and I have been working on a signal tracer product to take and hopefully put out in a kit form for people. And I thought I'd just go over a quick history on where this all came from, where it all began. Uh, I had a Heathkit T4 signal tracer, which worked good, but there was always a lot of background hum, no matter what I did to it. If the lead wasn't grounded to the tip, uh, it would just be really obnoxious. So I wanted to see whether I could find something solid state and quieter. So I was looking around on the internet and I took and found this diagram for an AFRF signal tracer, which is what the T4 was. And it really nice and simple. It uses an LM380 chip instead of a 386. The 380 is a 2.5 watt and a lot quieter. I always had trouble with oscillations with the 386. So I put it together, and the unit looked like this, and it worked, but it was nowhere near as sensitive as the T4 was on some of the real low signals. Uh, and this is what it looked like inside. The bottom board there is the original board. So I started looking again, looking for some kind of a preamp, because if you look at look at the T4, uh, there's like a preamplifier section and then the amplifier. So I was looking around again on the internet, and I took and found this preamp circuit for for signal tracers, and took and assembled it on a piece of perf board and added it, and that really took and brought up the sensitivity of the signal tracer really close, if not better than what the T4 had. Now, I started playing around with KeyCat around that time, and the original circuit would take and look something like this on a printed circuit board. On the left there, you have the RF circuit. On the right, you have the LM380 and its associated components. And then this would be what the little added board would look like with the input amplifier, the preamp. So I decided to see what would look like, how could I take and get this all on one board. And this was the first that I came up with. This has the lower left corner there is the RF circuit. And they're kind of like the top in the middle is the preamp, and then the the rest is the LM380 and the output for the speakers. And it took and fitted. We took and found a case that it would take and fit into. It fit in fine, and this was the first one I built using that new circuit or whatever. And it was good, but really susceptible to hum. If you touch the BNC connector over there, it would hum. If you touch the screws there by the AFRF switch, you'd get a hum out of it. And I just kept looking, trying to figure out what was going on, and I finally realized that the problem was when you have components that aren't on the circuit board, you have leads of some sort. You have wires, a piece of coax. You have something going to it, And every time you have something like that, away from the main circuit, you have another place to where it can introduce hum. So that gave us the idea to take and try to get all the controls and everything onto one board. And first I started out, I just had the BNC connector and the power jack onto one board or whatever, but that still left the volume control and the AFRF switch. So I just kept working on it because we still had lots of room in the case or whatever, and finally came up with this board. There on the left, from the bottom to the top, you have the 9-volt, the BNC, the mode switch for the AFRF, and at the top you have the volume control and on-off switch combined. So everything is finally on one board. And putting it on a board like this, I could also take and put a ground plane front and back on it to take and really try to keep noise out of the circuit. Assembled into one of the cases, it looks like this. It fits perfect in a case that size. And you just have the controls there on the going up to one side. Then Doug and I have been hashing over this. I like a fine mesh speaker grill because I snipping components here, leads around here. They're flying all over the place, and a speaker is a magnet. I didn't want them going through that heavier mesh and getting stuck on the speaker. So I took and ordered some of these 2-inch speaker grills or whatever, and it takes and fits the case fine. And the circuit works fine, as you'll hear in the following clip.
Continue here today. The weather could not be better. It's mostly clear sky, sun shining right now, warm temperatures, but certainly not overbearingly so. A really nice day for baseball here in South Philadelphia. Coming up in the show, we'll have the...
Well, that's about it. That's a very brief history on everything we've done so far with the AFRF signal tracer, and now it's going to go to some beta testers, get input from them, and then we can take and start working towards the final product. Thanks for stopping by. Everybody have a good day.